Good evening, everyone. Hello, I am one of us. Hello, Thomas. And Thomas, thank you for the early support to the channel. As usual, merci beaucoup. Same goes for Gidget Mauer 123 alias Frank. Thank you guys so much. Mr. Zosh. Hello, Bernd. Hello, Maurizio. Hello, Zelvia. Salut compare vinyle. I guess we're starting tonight quite esoteric. Celebrating Jean-Claude Eloy, who passed away in the past few days, weeks. Actually, just before last stream. One of the key avant-garde French composers of the 20th century. Hello, John. Hello, Paul. And thank you, Bernd Müller, for leaving a very nice tip as well in the coffee jar. Much needed this week. Still need to replenish from the Den Bosch trip, plus all the new stuff. You know. This stream can only exist thanks to you, to your support. So if you think you're gonna like this one, by all means leave a like to the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, as there will be more and more stuff unscheduled. But as of now, we're Friday, so I guess you made your excuses and left to be here. And if you haven't, that means you're probably watching this weekend and this week, whenever, like in 2026, in 2030. How long will YouTube exist? Jean-Claude Eloy left us 10 days ago after a life that led him all over the world, to Japan, especially on this piece, which was his very first magnum opus, the first solo album of his, Gaku no Michi, released in 1979, but recorded much before in Japan, where he discovered the pachinko machines, which were the basis, the sound matter that he used, field recordings in the pachinko halls in Japan, and the sounds of the machines and electronics. There is a box set CD of that. It was the complete version, since the complete version is like 5 hours long, or 3.5 if you take away all the introductory sounds. But here we're not too concerned by that, I guess. Vinyl records is how we put some limits to our craziness. but not for all of us, thankfully. Hello Gaz, hello Herkimer. Exactly. Hello everyone. As you can hear from my voice, I'm not completely done with COVID, but I couldn't bail tonight. Hello S&D Seeker. How you doing, Marcos? I'm doing better, but it's a drag, COVID, for the third time. Jean-Claude Eloy, Gaku no Michi. Let me see. Yes, it is. Yeah, I think either Den Bosch or the airport. Here is Jean-Claude Eloy, Gaku no Michi. According to me, he has two massive works on vinyl. This and the Stunty double LP as well. Apart from these, you'll have to go to CDs to get some of the most exceptional work of Jean-Claude. Farewell. I am in good spirits. It's Friday. I get to listen to records with you guys, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Now, an even more recent find. A record that was on my want list, but as something to investigate from a series that has become beloved in our little community here. This one was rated terribly on Discogs, like 2 on 5, which shows you how meaningful these ratings can be, because this is absolutely exceptional. But quite intense, I will admit. This is Stanislaw Krupowicz from Poland, the second volume of the 1988 Warsaw Autumn the Sound Chronicles, the music festival from Varsovie, and yeah, it's one of the good ones. As per usual, no track listing on the covers, as they couldn't afford to do covers for every volume of the series. So on the track listing and all the info is on the label. Sometimes spare labels would be glued on the back of the jacket, but in this case, it's just a very nice, perfect condition, almost cover here. But but this is the work of Stanislaw Krupowicz, and you can still find it quite on the cheap. The A side, the concerto, is for saxophone and computers, which this is part of actually. This is a whole. It just gets better and better as you go through this one. Here it is. Just follow the link if you're interested. Hello 4D man, how you doing? Oh well. Jean-Claude Eloy on the Hades, on Disc Hades label. Very interesting French label for avant-garde music. I must say, when I heard about the passing of Jean-Claude Eloy, I was quite sad as I heard that he left us in one of these elderly homes and not in good shape, and not one of the good ones. Again, one of these cases of artists leaving the limelight and and getting forgotten. Not in the best way. But this composer, Stanislaw Kripovich, he's done very little on vinyl. This is the only album, and it's a live show performance. But yeah, he's been quite elusive. He studied electroacoustic music and set up a studio himself with Andrzej Mitan, the whole band behind the clique behind that label. I played a few LPs of last spring, but he kind of disappeared after that record. He had a few appearances on the label, but that's about it. My thoughts on Pansonic. Interesting band, ahead of its time. They kind of ran parallel to the scene, to the zeitgeist for the longest time because, being from Finland, even if they were signed to Mute, which garnered them some hype, but they always were back then an artist's artist. I would say. And the music is fairly esoteric. Just a wonderful package, this one. Hello, Brian. We started with an esoteric racket from Tokyo, actually. So, if you go back a little bit, a whole electroacoustic piece made from pachinko machines. From the very distant past to the distant past to the now. The timeless now. Eloy, how you doing? Frank Zappa weekend, okay. So far nothing from Den Bosch here, but there will be some tonight for sure. No, it wasn't. It was a glorious chaos of sounds from Tokyo, because wouldn't you say that Tokyo is a very chaotic city, sound-wise? Japanese people are very polite and organized, but they still can't help themselves creating chaos. You're welcome, Archeologias Noras Discos, who I think I met you in Den Bosch last week or 2 weeks ago now. We're listening to Sam Shalabi, a split EP mini album with a Gunglove grant, released by a friend Corbin Records, Joe, with Annex Blues Society. Sam Shalabi was featured in that the Pred orchestra we played last week, amazing album that just came out. I was not familiar with the other musician, Gunglove Grant, really good as well, quite different, also guitar, bass, even if this is the oud, obviously. Very nice silkscreen jacket. Recorded in freedom and self-determination on March 4th, 2024 at Casa del Popolo, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Oh yeah, Liam Grant and Mike Gunglove, yeah, that's right. I think their A side is just Sam Shalabi and the B side is the three of them with a 12-string guitar and a Hardanger style fiddle. nice. Yeah, Grasse is not far away from there. Well, thank you. Thank you for the man. Very nice EP. I think it's distributed in Europe, so I would urge you to check it out. Actually, here's the link where you can find it. Still available. Although I don't know how many copies they did. They can't have done that many. So how is everyone doing, by the way? Since last week, or or how is everyone doing if it's the first time you're stopping by? I see we're entering the sort of eye of the storm in terms of releases, since it's a kind of lost chance for most labels and artists to have their records out before the Christmas season. And lots of this really inspiring music coming out these days. It's almost, it's intoxicating in all the best ways. I think 2025 has been a year even greater in amount of new releases on vinyl that caught my interest, as you've been witness all year long. But now we go from the current timeless to the old timeless. Chad, musique du Tibestri. So going from Egypt to a little further down, for you who don't really realize where Chad is, there you go. Very nice package on the Chant du Monde French label, the French folkways essentially. And again, one of these super cheap records that features a variety of ethnomusicologic record recordings. As as I was telling you, I'm currently recovering from COVID. This record has a sort of COVID connection to me. Because however horrible COVID was, the pandemic, it had some unexpected side effects in the arts. Hello, I'm the Dead. How are you doing? Okay. Hello, Emilio Valdez. Yeah. Yes, Alex. The first Malcolm Pardon solo album. I believe this was released in 2021, and when I heard it, I was taken. Boy, was I taken. Hello, Death. I haven't discussed with him or heard whether my theory about this being a COVID album is true, but I guess the title makes me lean that way even a little more. Here's the link on Discogs if you missed it back then and you enjoy what you're hearing. Malcolm is a producer, musician with quite a long history in music, and when this was released I knew him since he's from Stockholm, or he lives in Stockholm or around Stockholm. I knew him as part of the Roll the Dice duo with Peder Mannerfeld, who's made a big name for himself in underground techno, but not just that, also as a live member of The Knife. And I think this album was maybe the first time Malcolm could show who he was musically in a very personal manner. This is simple music, but in the most difficult way. And even though the pandemic in Sweden was not as hard on the people as it was most around the world, I guess all the bands, the live touring, all that was that was put aside, and you were left at home with a piano or a tape recorder. So when the pandemic calmed down, appeared a bunch of really cool field recording albums from people who had no background in field recordings, solo piano albums from people who were not known for being that, even though this is more than just a piano album, but essentially it is a keyboard album. That hasn't aged a second. An album by this guy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we'll have to put the echo cancellation. Let me
see where that goes.
I was on
I
my
was on
side.
my side.
Oh, no, on your side as well. Or maybe you have the window, the YouTube window open at the same time. You need to either shut it down or to mute it. Now I can't hear you though. Oh,
How about now?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can still hear me as an echo. Do you have a window, a YouTube window open somewhere?
Maybe. Don't think so, though. No.
Okay, let's.
Okay. I don't know. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, and now it's good.
Okay.
The echo is bad.
Okay.
It's no echo.
Oh, there you go. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hello,
I'm
Jan.
good. I'm good. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, it's the first time we speak in English, and I believe I just realized earlier this week that this is your mother tongue.
It is. It is truly. But well, I'm born in Sweden, but you know, with a Scottish father and a Swedish mother, so it's a mix.
Yeah.
It's not your mother tongue, though. But yeah, I found it interesting the way you sort of discussed the COVID. I don't think it wasn't planned to be, but I think when you mention it, it was in a period when nothing else was going on. So the piano was kind of like a refuge in a sense. I didn't really plan to do an album really. It just happened in a sense. And me and Peter had kind of a period where we weren't doing that much. So it fitted in nicely.
Yeah, back then, I think you had never released anything under your name until that record.
No. Well, the thing was, I'm usually quite happy to be in a band or working with someone. And when me and Peter worked, we always kind of like sort of bounced ideas off each other. But on the other hand, a lot of the Roll the Dice ideas came from maybe he was starting like something on a sequencer and I sort of added stuff on the piano. And this time around, it was just like me without Peter in a sense. I just felt it was kind of important to let that thing forward in a sense. But it was never planned. It just kind of happened, and that's the best way to do it.
Really. Yeah, but the result is still that it's sort of a COVID baby.
It is a COVID baby, although Hello Death was more like a sense of maybe more the fact that I've never done anything on my own, and it's kind of like, okay, so are you going to do something on your own? You know, life is not short. You know, someday you're going to die. So it's kind of like a hello to, you know, you got to do your thing as well in the midst of everything. But it kind of fitted in nicely in that period for a weird kind of reason.
And as you say, like for people who don't know you, who are discovering you now, or who kind of know you through your most recent output, you've been releasing and being part, as you said, in bands and since the early 90s, right?
Yeah. I mean, I moved to England back in.
He looks good, huh? He looks good for his age.
You're so kind. But you know, it's like I played bass in bands. I moved to England in the 90s. Part of the kind of I played in a band called Kinky Machine. We were signed to a label, and it's like the whole kind of pulp pre sort of Oasis era back in 92, 93, back in London.
The tail end of indie. I think you were on the same label as the band Sack or something like that.
Probably. I can't remember all those bands. It was like, you know, there's a lot of bands that didn't make it, but there was a lot of bands being signed in those days as well. You know, like you know, back in the CD days, pre-vinyl almost, you know, not pre-vinyl, but in those days there weren't any vinyls being released, you know, and I find the vinyl is just like a great sort of thing to sort of put out your own stuff these days, you know, and yeah. So I've been around forever, but you know, my own thing has only happened for the last whatever 5-10 years.
Yeah, but so I guess apart from another aspect of your work that we can mention a little bit, I guess I got to know you through the Roll the Dice project, which I guess is 10 years ago. It was booming. Since it's been kind of dormant for the past 5 years now or so, I guess some people might have forgotten about it or not know about it. But Roll the Dice is you'll tell us, that duo of yours with Peder, that was kind of a mix of post-punk, industrial, techno, and sound design.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
songs.
that's probably exactly what it was, because Peter had his thing, he came from his end of things and I came from my end, and we just kind of merged that into, like, as I said before, if he would like start a sequence of something like a bass line going on the synthesizer or whatever, I would kind of add textures to that, mainly through piano. But in the end of things, maybe we didn't use the piano, but like I would kind of do structures around it. So I'm not doing, I mean, basically what I'm doing now is kind of roll the dice without Peter, you know what I mean? Without the sort of back end of kind of, in those days, like this is almost like 2012, 2010, when we put out a few albums, and it was a good mix of sort of industrial bases and like a sort of mechanics. And then we tried to find, my end of it was trying to be the same with the piano. So it's like, if you had a bass line going do 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 do, I was trying to go like do 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 on the piano, whilst now I'm being more kind of free with it, you know what I mean, on my own thing, which is a good departure in a sense, you know.
But at the same time, while doing all of that, you were also doing production, since you've been doing a lot of music as work that has obviously an artistic side. But and just for those who are interested in Roll the Dice, you had a few albums released on Leaf Records, the great British label. Tony Morley, I think, the A&R, who used to be the A&R of 4AD before he launched his own label.
That's right, yeah.
A great guy. And but at the same time, it was not that you two were just like, techno kids playing around and finding your way into the world. You were doing sound production, music production for movies, for commercials, for TV commercials, and all that. And you have an impressive resume with work for some of the biggest corporate, evil corporations in the world.
Always evil, but always paying well, and that's the thing, if how do I put it? In a sense, like, basically what started us off was Peter used to work with a guy called Henrik, who was my cousin's son. And back in 2000 and, wow, this is a long time ago, 2008, 2009, or maybe even further back, we started sharing the same studio space, basically. And then they started doing, Fever Ray and those kind of things. And one day me and Peter just like, oh, maybe we should try something just for fun. And that kind of sort of emerged into Roll the Dice. And so it's our kind of side project. He was doing that, like Fever Ray and stuff, and I was doing a lot of film and television work, like commercials and TV and stuff like that. Basically the commercial work. And but since we were always in the same studio, it was like every time we had like 5 minutes, let's just do a track of some sort. And one day we just like, okay, let's just hang out for an evening, get a glass of wine and whatever. And then the first album came about, and we had like a solid idea, like, this album we can only do it in one take. So every track had to be one take, one bass line or a sequencer, one add-on on the piano. And that was our first album back in 2010 maybe.
Yeah,
And
something like that.
so me and Peter have always, and Peter and Per, who he's working with a lot now,
Per
he's also
Grindvik.
sharing our space.
Yeah.
Per Grindvik.
Techno
They've
guy.
kind of mixed. They've mixed and sort of mastered and helped me produce all my stuff. So we're kind of like intertwined all the time, and Roll the Dice. We did 4 albums, and we kind of like we've never said we got to do something when we want to do something that feels like we need to do something, and we're kind of discussing things, but it's like 4 albums is quite a lot, in a sense.
And that's kind of the luxury you have of having a job as a musician instead of you both an artist and a musician.
Yeah, exactly. And we're always in the studio. It's like it's almost like a 9 to 5. You go there every morning, you come back. You always have this.
It's a very nice 9 to 5. I visited that studio a couple of times.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's a wonderful place. Very nice atmosphere and quite yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's a
visited
nice
Per
vibe, and
and Peder there.
we've been there forever now. Like, and I'm getting old. Peter's getting old. He used to be the kid, the subliminal kid. And now he's like pushing 50. So
Yeah,
we got to keep going.
He lives not far away from me, I think,
Okay. Yeah.
in the archipelago. But let's listen to some music.
Please.
Do me. So this is the opening track of your new album, your third LP. Between the first album we listened to and this, there was 2 cassette albums and another LP. So how would you say was the journey between that first one we listened to 10 minutes ago and this new one?
Well, the short journey would be probably that on the first one I did, it was piano and like me just not knowing what I was doing kind of thing and trying things out. And then the one in between, which we haven't listened to, was that was on Leaf, as actually it was out last year, and that was also piano, but with a different texture. It was kind of more. I wanted to add more kind of how do you say, more a bigger kind of atmosphere, less intimate,
more joyful, I would say.
Would you say? I was hoping hoping the other direction, but it was called The Abyss, and it was kind of like more diving into the depth of
amazing cover art, by the way.
Oh yeah. I was lucky to. Long story short, the photographer I was like, who's married to a friend of mine. He's a great photographer, and I was just like looking through stuff for inspiration for the album, and like a template for just ideas, and I was like, and his thing just popped out, and I was like, that's the cover, and I was like, oh, I can't ask him, but I asked him, and he's like, go ahead, man, just grab it. And his name is Chris Shonting, an American photographer, like, and it sort of encapsulated the whole vibe. Obviously, we're talking about something nobody. Have you got the album there? Maybe.
No, I don't have it, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Well, I missed out on that one.
Okay, let's not talk about that one, but let's talk about that next time. But basically, so when I did this album, which is out like last week, I was kind of like in a situation where I felt I wanted to sort of leave the piano behind, and or not consciously, but I just basically what happened was I was invited by an artist called Gustav Broms, who did an exhibition in Uppsala last year, and he's like a performance artist, and it's his artwork on the cover, and there's like exactly, that's his website, and he's like totally free spirit, does a lot of stuff in nature and everything. And he invited me, and he said, can you do an improvised set for like 6 hours? And I was like, what? I can't improvise, and not for 6 hours. And I was like, and that was
what, you're not Lamont Young?
Well, it's like, for me, like improvising is just totally different to the way I work, but because obviously that's a challenge. So I just like, hey, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. So that was a year and a half ago. And basically, so I just had like a lot of loops going on in the background on my, like an OP1 kind of thing. So he was doing his performance, and I was just like trying to follow him while he was doing it live in this art space in Uppsala.
Uppsala is a city an hour north from Stockholm, barely an hour. It's a student city. It's a very calm city, but like very welcoming to the arts.
Very much so. And he's been doing this forever. And, you know, like performance artists, they don't, you know, obviously they don't make art that you can buy, in a sense. They don't paint a painting or do anything. So he's just like totally free. So I went for it, and I came back, did that, and that was fantastic. But all these ideas that I had, like these little basic loops, kind of was the start point for me doing this album. Like, and I came back, and there was a summer in between, and I sort of just started listening to these ideas, and I was like, okay, I could do music out of it. I could do songs out of these. But I also decided not to play the piano on this one, because I wanted to sort of move on. Because like the piano had become like a comfort zone in a sense. And so this time around, I just, okay, no piano. So it's all
only 4 years between figuring out what you don't know what you're doing to being comfortable with the piano.
Exactly. So you got to keep developing. Well, you know, it's more like the case of, since I'm totally free in a sense, because I'm not doing it for the money, or there's no big stages waiting for me. I can always do exactly what I want. So I'm totally free space. And the challenge was obviously, okay, what can I do to remove myself from what I'm used to doing, in a sense? And the obvious thing would be the piano. And it was a bit scary, but on the other hand, a lot of other things came out. Like there's another kind of world behind the piano, because the piano is always the melody, and this, it was almost like a lead singer kind of thing. So if you take that away, you leave a lot of space for other things, and more kind of openness sense.
Well,
So
getting back maybe to what you used to be doing also with Roll the Dice, the atmosphere, the sound design, the
totally. But also, in a sense, it's almost like you got to take a step back and be more sort of like, okay, I got to do this in another way. It's always like trying different things, and this, you kind of try different things, and then suddenly you're in this situation, you feel, okay, I'm onto something here now, and then you follow it, and then that's kind of how this album came about, really. And I just felt like, okay, I'll follow this trail and see where it goes.
I want to say that, I mean, there's nothing more easy to describe this kind of music than saying, oh, ambient or dark ambient. I must say that, like, what's instantly from your first album and what my expectations from your music, knowing Roll the Dice before, would always be really good sound design, which means that when you go that minimal as on the new album, basically, ambient textures, doomy a little bit. It's the easiest music to do in a way, but it's not the easiest to make it timeless, to have great textures that won't sound dated or too caught in the technology. Like you mentioned, the Obi-Wan from Teenage Engineering, which is interesting, very versatile instrument that a lot of people criticize, but like, I guess there's also some sort of economic politics behind it. But since there's a shitload of that kind of music these days, often these albums can feel a little bit like advertising for yourself to work in the film industry, in sound design. You already do that. And that's why I like about that record that I can hear that that's absolutely not what it is about. It's really actually making it subjective enough that this is not advertising for yourself. This is just
No, I'm trying to move
music.
away from that kind of angle at any time, because obviously daytime, there's always kind of like, if you do like a commercial or whatever you do, it's like there's always people around you that are going to go, okay, I don't like that sound, or can you change that sound, or can you make it more happy, make it more sad? Now I'm like totally free with it, and I'm doing it on my own terms, and it's like not really, how do I put it? I've been like working with this for so long, so this is almost my attempt to detach myself from that world, as opposed to making myself available for that world, if you know what I mean. So I kind of I totally understand what you're saying. It's like, I think I've only done 2 albums plus this on my own. I'm kind of moving further and further down that world, and I'm not sure where I'm going to end up, but it's a free space, basically. And truly it sounds pretentious, but I'm doing it for myself in the end, and
Well,
that's usually when things happen.
People who follow this channel, they know I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it, but that's why I made an effort to talk with you and to make sure we could have a little chat there, because I really feel that there's not that many artists around today who do ambient and who manage to seize a sort of zeitgeist. I think you kind of operate in a similar world as Dean Hurley, who also has a big background with moving images,
Yeah.
and also romance.
Yeah.
The who knows who he is, but like with
Probably Dean
this,
Hurley, right?
that or one of the guys from Ecstatic, the label,
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the Italian guys.
Yeah.
But
Not
yeah, let's.
waving that
Yeah,
guy.
exactly,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Not waving, or if we go even further back, I mean, this is just weird. These 7 inches fell from the this band called Gamers in Exile, which is
Right.
basically not waving in 98, 99 when they were doing
Okay.
IDM, when they were trying to
Fu-
be Aphex Twin.
Funnily enough, we did like way back in the like 2012. We did like a couple of gigs or one gig in Brazil, and we made friends with Fuck Buttons. You remember Fuck
Yeah, yeah,
Buttons? And
yeah. The
Ben from I can't remember his name of his band. He's got a band. Never mind. Anyway, one of the guys from Fuck Buttons, Ben, we kind of share music once in a while, and I sent him the album as you do, just to check it out, like a year ago maybe, or and he's like, "Oh, this really sounds like Gas,"
yeah,
and I was like, "Gas? I've never heard of Gas." And then another guy like came to my gig 2 weeks ago when we had like the release thing. He's like, "Sounds like Gas," and I was like, "Who Gas?" I didn't know who Gas was. You know Gas, the
yeah,
German
yeah.
guy from
Mike Inc. Yeah,
yeah. So I was like,
Wolfgang
"Fuck."
Voigt.
So two people who said the same thing about a band that I've never really heard of, and I'm like, so I checked it out. So it is. I just found that really amazing that they could sort of find that connection, which is for me like a band I've never heard of, and I can understand the relation. Although Gas has got always like a kick going, there's a
A
bit of a dance.
subliminal kick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's all, but the textures and everything, I can totally
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
Let's listen to some more textures and
Yeah.
maybe talk about whether like it's music that influences you, or like, we live in Sweden. There must be
Yeah.
something about it. Absolutely magnificent.
Thanks, man. Foggy
simple,
Harbor.
yeah, simple, but also the whole world is contained in a song sometimes, huh?
Yeah. I mean, back again to sort of like limiting yourself in a way. Like I try to do as little as possible to reach some kind of effect, and by removing the piano, suddenly you're in that world of like, okay, space, and like a pad just going back and forth, like a rocking chair or whatever, it's like. And as soon as you have a melody line going, then that kind of takes over in a sense. So this was kind of like the big thing for me, just to find the emotion without adding too much to it. So next time I'm probably just going to be down to like nothing, like
Yeah, Terry Riley, like just one tone for
yeah,
30 minutes. But
exactly.
you know, I guess that for a lot of people for whom experimental music is not the norm, when you hear something like that, you can hear, okay, like it's dark, but it's harmonical, it's musical, but it's very simple, isn't it? It's just two keys. The thing is that, in a way, it is simple, but music is about making choices.
Yeah,
And to put yourself in the position to be able to make these choices, these very radical choices, you have to, or like let us know after, but like I think you have to create a connection with sound and the idea of sound that is extremely profound and difficult to explain to people who just see the technical aspect of music.
well, that's it. But for me, it's really important every time to try and be musical. I don't want to make sounds. I still want it to be harmonic. I always want to like a harmonic structure, even if it's just two chords. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not into sort of sound music, just like a noise, not noise, but you know what I mean. I always tried. For me, it's really important to have an harmonic development, even if it's super minimal. But it still has to be music as opposed to just sound. You know what I mean?
And now that's where we go into ideology in a way. Would you say that for someone like you, um, harmonical and like to be musical, that you connect that with the essence, a sort of idea of beauty? Because for me it does, like a sense of the need for a sense of beauty, however dark the music turned
Totally,
out to be. But
totally. I totally agree. I wanted to find some kind of like a resolution, even if it starts simple. It has to have like a resolve or like a almost like a dynamic curve. It can't just start and end the same way. It has to have some kind of dynamic, and even if it's just adding a note or something to make it develop. So in a sense, it's really important. It's more to be musical than sonically. I want to, in that sense, I want to find the simplest way to get to the emotion. I don't want to lose the emotion by just making a soundscape. I want to have like an harmonic progression going, and that's not easy, especially if you do it like for instance this one. I did it like basically all the sort of. Usually I do pads on keyboards and stuff, and this time I didn't do that. I had like old string samples that I pitched down, like so they became drones, and then with all this sort of crackle and stuff. Is so much of it on this one because I kind of added the same sound 3 or 4 times and did different things, and that's why it's
the
like
generationizing of the
generationizing of the crackle from the vinyl, which I can't say where I took it from, but it's basically all sample based, really, and then tried to make music out of that instead of just sitting by the piano and going, okay, I'm going to start with a chord here and a chord there and see what happens. This time I didn't do that. And I think I'm really happy with how it came out because it's still music in my ears anyway. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, for me, when I heard the first excerpts when it was announced. I was like, and I'm critical and of things. I thought this is exactly what I need to do right now. But for the man here, he was asking if you're influenced by film composers from back in the day, Jerry Goldsmith, etc. We can talk about that, but specific if you want. But like also being a binational double culture, also growing up in a big city, you London, me Paris, then we arrived to Sweden. Stockholm is not a big city. Like
No.
how is what does influence you to make that music? Because hearing your description of your second album and listening to these two albums, like you would fall definitely in the category of like Young Lean, like the sad boys.
All right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I met you a little bit, and I tend to think that people who like the very dramatic music like that, often they're not sad people at all. Quite the opposite.
No. No. It's another kind of avenue. It's like, most people who know me, I'm just like, I'm really sort of a chirpy, kind of simple, happy guy, and it's like, but this is a way to find another sort of perspective of like myself. And it's like you're opening a door and he's like letting these things out. And then suddenly, I don't know what my next album is going to sound like or anything, but it's like, that's the challenge. And that's also the fun thing of not knowing what's going to happen. You're just like, okay, let's do this. And I've always had a little sort of, I've always liked, sort of like the David Lynch films and stuff, but I've never been like a fan of the music in those films, for instance. More the aesthetics of the visuals. It's like me and Peter used to say when we did music, it's like doing a soundtrack to a film that doesn't exist, which is quite sort of, and that's kind of something I've always kept in the back of my mind. It's like, I'm not inspired by film music, but I know a lot of people say that my music is cinematic, but that's probably just because it has that sort of texture,
Are you inspired by film, by movies then, rather than the music? Creating a world, like you were talking about David Lynch. I understand. I think I understand fully what you're saying, and I share the sentiment. Although these movies still manage to create very strong images
I know.
that can be burned in the mind, and that's what we build soundtracks to, either in our head or literally with instruments and loops, etc.
But to be honest, I'm not like a film buff. I'm not like, oh, I love this film, I love that, and I don't know any. I mean, obviously, some film music is great, but I'm not like dedicated to it. I don't follow. Like, I'm not into that kind of vibe anyway. It's more like. It's hard to explain. I find making music, and also this is a new thing for me because I've always made music together with other people in bands and with Peter and stuff. So it's more like, it's almost like opening a door and see what comes out, especially when you're on your own. And when you make, and you know what it's like, you make music on your own. It's a lot of alone time, which allows a lot of, it's like, it's you don't know what's going to happen when you start the day, and suddenly you got something at the end of the day, and you're like, did I make this okay? What am I going to do with this? Where's this going to go? And also the chance of things like being invited to this art thing, which I would have said no to because he said, can you just be like improvising for 6 hours? No. It's like my general kind of, I want to control things, what I mean? But then on the other hand, you just got to go with those things that aren't comfortable in a sense. And that's the same thing here. It's like, okay, I'm comfortable working on the piano. Let's move that aside then. Because I read this thing a long time ago. It's like, I think John Lennon said it once, it's like, if you're comfortable with writing a song on the guitar and you keep doing it, move on to another instrument. You know what I mean? It's a good saying, you got to sort of challenge yourself a little bit,
Keep being a punk. Always play something you don't know.
True.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know what chords I'm taking on. I can't. When I play the piano, I still don't know what,
It's just
is
the ears.
what was that?
It's just your ears and
Yeah, I
sensibility.
don't know what chords I'm taking. I couldn't say to someone, what's the chord progression? It's like, yeah, the bass note is a C. That's kind of what I know, and then I move on. And that's also why it's very repetitive, because when I find something, I'm so happy with it, and I'm afraid if I start moving around, I'm going to forget what I did in the first place. So
Mm.
it's kind of like I stick to that simple progression. Like the first track you played, that was one of my earlier solo things, and I was like, boom, boom, dum, 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 dum. Fuck, this sounds great. I better stick with this. I'm not going to move ahead. I'm just going to stay around this area, because if I start moving around, I'm going to forget what it is. So I always record everything on my iPhone, like putting it on top of the piano, and just because I can't remember what the chords are or anything. So it's a kind of simplistic approach to it, which I like,
Mm. But so, yeah, you being extremely transparent about how all of that works, and I don't think we even need that, like because yeah, the emotion is really palpable in all these songs, and but again, I feel sometimes I wonder, um, like all, it's always fun to try to figure out when music is from, um, or where, and
yeah.
I feel like people, if obviously people are going to make these associations with movies, etc., because the music is um, quite visual, and also to be fair, you did that for a visual artist as well. So, I mean,
I
it's in,
know.
but like in the sense, like the environment of Sweden, of Stockholm, how big of an impact do you think it has? You who have lived elsewhere, like, is it really you and it would be the same anywhere? Or,
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I, the quick answer would be yes. I could probably do this if I moved to India or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think this is sort of rooted in my sort of background in any way. But I might be wrong. But I don't feel it. I don't feel particularly sort of connected to Sweden or England. And my dad was Scottish, and nothing of this seems to be rooted in anything. It's just like, it's like more like an open door, and sort of things pour out. But you
I
might
guess
be
it's,
right, though.
uh, I mean, our relationship with light and seasons in Sweden is quite extreme, but at the same time, I think I want to believe you and take you at your word in the sense that since you have this sensibility and knowledge of like what is of sound design and subjectivity, this is just music that is, I think, extremely human, and therefore that's where it's from.
But it might also be the fact that I've kind of worked with that, but maybe I should have done this earlier. I mean, I should
Mm.
have started doing music a long time ago for myself. But it's like I came to a point where maybe I was a little bit sort of maybe I realized this a little bit late. I should have moved on to this earlier, in a sense. I don't think it has anything to do with where I'm from or my
Mm.
I think anyone who kind of like just, it's a bit of daring to do it as well. And
When music is your job as well and you have to put food on the table, like I understand that sometimes like a lot of people try to assign a function to music, and you've kind of moving away from that with this music, even
yeah.
though people will still have a sort of Pavlovian reflex of associating this with whatever they want, but that's the beauty of it.
Well, also you got to remember, just like I started doing music not to make music to make a living from it. I started doing music because I
Yeah.
loved it, and then obviously you come to a point in life where kind of maybe, you know, if you get paid to do music, you easily choose that path rather than, okay, fuck it, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do any of that kind of music to make a living. I'm just going to do music where I don't make a living. But now I'm in a situation where I can make a living and also find the time to do my own music. And obviously, it's a natural kind of development of maybe finding the courage to do it, you know, instead of hiding behind, you know, behind an assignment, you know, or whatever. It's like, so although I'm sort of like, I'm freeing myself in a sense more and more to do this, and hopefully I can do some more good stuff. I don't know, but it's like it's going back to why you start with music. That's the main thing. I like the love of my first. I had a grandma. This is an old story, but I had like my grandmother had like a grand piano in her apartment in Stockholm when I was a kid, and I used to go there. And she lived in a big apartment. She had like a Steinway in one of the rooms. So every day I tried to go there after school, and she was not interested in like hanging out with me. So I just used to sit there and try out the like. And you get this sound out of this piano, and it's like, wow. And you're maybe like 6, 10 years old, and it's like this world that opens up is still the world I'm trying to sort of find, you know. And it's still the same kind of vibe.
Often when I talk with people who are not into experimental music or avant-garde or whatever left field music, and often they perceive it as serious, heady, intellectual. And I remember, and I try to share that this kind of a very similar story. Like, just try to remember when you were a kid and the one time you got a chance to be in front of a piano and no one was looking, and you just like hit it senselessly. And because you're a human being, after a while you try to find patterns, you create your own logic in it, and you start to like it. And there's no rules, there's no philosophical aesthetic background to it. It's just the joy of creating.
Yeah, and you're totally right, and that's still where I'm at in a sense. I'm still sitting there like trying to figure things out and trying to sort of understand what I'm doing with this, you know, this basically sort of wooden thing which makes great noise, and then you just like working your way through it, and every day is a new kind of, whoa, what happened here? There's a new chord I didn't know. And if you would ask like a jazz musician, they say, oh, that's like a D diminished seventh with a like. I was like, okay, I don't know, but it still sounds good to me, and it's like, that's fine.
So, and you have experience. You have experience in the studio listening to sound, creating sound, and creating music with that. But now you're also creating one of the reasons you're here, besides making great music, according to me, and hopefully to some of the people here, is that you are doing these releasing this music on vinyl. The first one was a very limited one, 150 copies, if I remember. So probably a little more, as as we know how these things work. But still, you make the effort of releasing this on vinyl. I mean, not necessarily just you have people who believe in it and who release it and make it special by making these limited editions. Not that like the limited aspect of it is something necessarily to look forward to, but the fact of the matter is that these are limited, and it makes these records maybe like tiny secret treasures for me, and maybe for others. What's your relationship with vinyl records?
Well, same thing. And my relationship with, you know, I'm old enough to remember that when I grew up, there wasn't anything else but vinyl. I came in before CDs, and you know, I used to have my
Really look amazing for your age. Okay.
But you know, like when I grew up, it was my dad's Beatles collection, and then I went on to David Bowie through my brother, and suddenly, you know, Brian Eno came in, and those kind of things. And it was like my first big revelation was like Kraftwerk and Bob Marley were the two big things for me back in the 80s. And it was like still two big things, like, and Bob Marley and Kraftwerk aren't that different to me. It's like the simplicity of it, it's like if you listen to it like a Bob Marley track. I saw Bob Marley in Stockholm in 1981. I was like one of the first concerts I went to, and it was the year before he died, I think. And my thought of it was like, wow, they're like 15 people on the stage, and they all sound like one. It was like this massive force. Same with Kraftwerk, and it's like simplicity but with power in a sense, like so. And this kind of simplicity is something I've always like loved in any artist, whoever it is, kind of thing. And but going back to the vinyl thing is just like where I started. And the reason I do vinyl is because I just love the fact you open it up and you have like the inner sleeve or whatever. Limited edition is just because you don't want to do 500 copies. Nobody's going to buy them. You do 150 and hopefully you sell them. That's more like the sort of the reason for it. But
not 500 now, but there's always the possibility of
there's
like
always
the
a
records.
possibility. But I love the fact that you do. I do my like 150 copies, put them out on Bandcamp, and people are like in Australia and Texas, and people, say, where did these guys come from? How did they? I find it amazing still. And I go to the post office and send them off, and I'm going to go like, fuck, great. Somebody else actually kind of likes it, and that's all I need in a sense.
And it's not just that people like it, it's that they make a choice because it's still money. And I think for me, just spending money on a record is like, it's telling yourself you're making a choice as well. So it's
a big effort. It's like for someone to order an album from Australia, it's going to be like 50 euros, which is a lot of money still. It's like to spend on an album of someone, that effort just makes it worthwhile. Even if there's like 20 people buying it, I'm just like, fuck, I'll keep going. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
Considering what things are worth in this world, like when you make music like that and you release it on vinyl, you do 150, 200 copies, and it ends up costing you 25, 30, $50 when it's new.
Yeah.
It's still pretty cheap.
It's still pretty cheap, yeah.
For a piece of manufactured artisanal art. And
totally. And I'm still amazed by that sort of dedication amongst the few that love us, that there's this world, I love it. I still love going to, I send them off myself through my Bandcamp, and I was like,
yeah, because the first two albums you did were released. The first one was released more or less through Boomcat.
Yeah, I did it myself, but Boomcat sort of distributed it, and then the second one was through Leaf, and we were going to do the other one through Leaf, this new one through Leaf, but they were like, "Oh, we have a long sort of period of waiting time." And I was like, "I want to do it now. Fuck it, I'll do it myself, and then we'll move on to the next one because I don't want to stop for now. Okay, we can do it. We can put it out in 12 months." And I'm like, "Fuck it, I want to do it now, and then move on to the next one," kind of thing. I still got a good relationship with Leaf. I'm going to go and see them in Manchester in a couple of weeks. Actually, I'm going up to Leeds to say hi, and so it's just like I want to sort of just get things out there and then move on, because if you haven't put it out, you don't want to. I want to move on to the next thing.
Let's listen to one little part again. I think the track that I played last week that I think that really was the more I listen to the album, I think it works from start to end. That like there's if you like one track on this and you spend the time, you will love the whole album. But this really, really grabbed my attention instantly. And when I say my attention, I mean my fantasy, my inspiration. Thank you, Malcolm.
Thank you.
So everyone, if you liked the album, well, here's the link to order it directly from Malcolm. It does get some kind of distribution.
Some kind of distribution. Otherwise, the Bandcamp's the best place.
All right. Well, thank you for spending some time with us talking about it. Maybe there'll be more stuff to do with you. Maybe I was talking with you last summer about the festival, the Tumult Festival. Was not the good timing, but who knows in the future.
Are you doing that this year again, or what?
We'll see. We'll see about that. We're working on it. That's the goal. We'll see if we can afford it.
Okay, let's talk about it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Malcolm.
Take care, man.
I'll edit the description of the video after the stream, so you get all the details. And until then, we continue the stream with the New Age Steppers. Thank you.
À bientôt.
Well, I hope you liked it. You know, these are free form. I always think we're going to do half an hour and we end up doing an hour. So I hope the people who are here for the music and the records are not are okay with that, and we'll grow into that. I'll try to. I have a bunch more people I want to talk with lined up like that, but I try to do it with the reason of there's actually something out right now. So that's why we got Malcolm also to spend some time with us like that. All right, let's see what you guys were saying. Hello, Stefan. How are you doing? Yeah. Very nice. Hello, Fred. How are you doing? Yeah. Zach Hill. Cheers, Brian. Cheers, Marcos. Yeah, and I like to have this a little bit semi-improvised and not hyped, not announced, like a little gift or curse to you. So you guys, if you're watching this not live, or even if you're watching now, you can always leave a comment to the video after, so that I know what you think, and if you have ideas and suggestions, criticism. Merci. Now, the first New Age Steppers album, which I never, for some reason, I never realized that Steve Beresford was so instrumental in the beginning of the band. Like, he literally plays so much on there. He plays the bass, the piano, percussion effects, and who knows what else. But that was a Den Bosch find, not an extremely obscure record, but always nice to find the early Adrian Sherwood productions, which Tokyo Brian here, he just saw live in Tokyo. Cheers, compare vinyle. Hello DJ Mr. Joel. Nene, you might be right. No, I don't think she's on that one. I think she's on the next one.
Like a tiger, him no like a tiger. I like a rabbit, him no like a rabbit. I like a lion, him react like a lion. Listen, right there, I wanna step into my space. And this is song, right there.
Also, I hope the sound during the interview was balanced enough. I couldn't hear it, so I just hope for the best. Cheers, Brian. Le festival que je fais is in Sweden and it's called Tumult. Look on the Instagram for Tumult Culture. Salut, France Bizarre. It was interesting hearing Malcolm talking about freeing himself, since I regularly mention how I think getting into all this music with the same joy as we could for a Beatles song. It's just freeing us more and more, which is kind of the goal of it all. Okay. I'll have to check back. Well, of course. So the New Age Steppers, they have 3.5 albums. They have 3 studio albums, one split album with Creation Rebels, and on vinyl, and a bunch of stuff. Like I think this is probably the very last New Age Steppers record I haven't played yet. And how could I have, since I was waiting to find a good deal for it on Den Bosch, which happened. Like, I think I paid something like just shy of 30 euros, so good value on the money. Here is the record. I believe it is from 1980 or 1981. And yes, Mr. Zosh, thank you for reminding people. If you like the show so far, by all means, like Marcos and Mr. Zosh, leave a tip to your DJ of the night. Support this stream for happening every week, or almost every week. I know I took a couple of weeks off, and I might have to take a week off to work on the festival soon. Maybe next week, actually. Next week or the next one, I'll have to take one of these off. But this is your support by tipping the show that gets it going. So just think about you spending a few hours here, or an hour if you were at the bar. Leave me what you would pay for a beer or two, or more.
Right there, I wanna step into my space. I say stop.
The coffee break, exactly.
I wanna step into my space. And we say stop right there. Stop right there.
Now, an extraordinary year for this artist. Also a very recent album.
I started to enjoy the music. The swings were meditative. Satisfying things satisfying things grew in the distance. Satisfying things.
Thank you, John Levinson. Merci beaucoup for leaving a tip in the coffee jar. So for those of you who remember Nursery's Wind in the mid-90s, you already knew he could rock. This is Lung Oysters, one of the most recent Nursery's Wind albums, with Diarmuid McDiarmada singing. Hello Chris, how you doing? Tomorrow 26, hopefully, yeah. Well. Yeah, but there was when he did an album in, when was that, 95 or 6? The name escapes me now. It's a double LP with a kind of brownish cover. Very rocking as well. Oh, weird. I think I know what it might have been. Is it different now? This is really a cool album. Now the sound should be a little better. Well, this is one of the latest Nurse's Wound albums. Oh yeah, the whole album is great, but his output in 2025 has just been sublime. And now another Den Bosch find. Ah, nice. That was some time ago. Rhythmatism, Steve Red on his own label. Muskevic sound, New York. One of the coolest jazz, spiritual, free jazz labels of the early mid 70s. Yeah. Oh yeah. This has been reissued a few years ago by Soul Jazz. But you know, Den Bosch provides in ways that are not necessarily totally rational, but I didn't get that many jazz records in Den Bosch this year, or so I thought, until I started to look closely at what I had been getting, and suddenly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jazz records, depending on how you look at jazz. Because I would say this is more than just jazz. Hey Joe, how you doing? Steve Red on the drums, but the whole team he has with him. Les Walker on piano, not very lauded pianist, but such a fun improviser. Now something is sort of the tail end of a quest that I showcased in the past few months. So the Steve Red record here it is. Not a cheap record, that original. The one I'm playing now is very cheap record. It's an uneven record, but that's what I'm playing to you, I think, is absolutely stunning. Stéphane Bidver. With Freddie Studer and Christy Doran. Basically a duo of guitar players with a drummer. Stéphane Bidver also plays a synthesizer and a sequencer. Christy Doran, electric guitars, and Freddie Struder, drums and percussion. A Swiss trio on ECM. 1987, 87. You know, sometimes we get bored of the guitar, or we think, the guitar. And then you hear something like that. Yeah, this is beyond rock in opposition, but it is a little bit that as well. Here it is. Our next one, I guess I'll play the big find in Den Bosch. Earlier, Malcolm was explaining that his latest album was made for performance artists, and that can be difficult. Well, here is the performance artist of performer artists, in a way. I had a bunch of massive finds and purchases at the Den Bosch Record Fair 2 weeks ago. But that one was by far my most epic one. Starts slow, starts, where could this go? Quiet, so I know some of you are here solely for the avant-garde experimental stuff, which is probably where most of my heart is at as well. But I wouldn't have it alone. But when you get there, I've been talking about that record for 3 years now, maybe. This is from an artist I've been aware for 20-25 years, and for the longest time I thought these records were never gonna be for me. I thought they were too elusive and really esoteric, which they are. But I think it was the summer 3 years ago, so almost 3.5 years ago, I jumped the gun, or a little before that. There was a cheap, newer release of his. Like I bought it to test. You know, that's what we should do, to confront ourselves with something that has been there in art history in a massive way, even if we don't understand it. So I decided to confront myself with him, and I was shocked by how extraordinary I thought the music was. And then I think it took like 6 or 7 months for me to seize an opportunity to get a really good deal on one of the really rare and cult albums of this artist. And then I was fucked because it's not like I need them all, but I want all of the ones that I like. And I did do my homework. I did go and listen to every single recording on vinyl that is out there from this artist, and that was the missing piece for me. Island by Hermann Nitsch, 6 LP box set. Symphony in 10 Schätzen. A symphony in 10 scenes, released in 1980, 200 copies only. So this, Hermann Nitsch plays the organ and keyboards, and he conducts the orchestra. The orchestra is a lot of people who sounds, their name sounds from Iceland, hence the name of that record. So that took me back a pretty penny. I won't lie to you. Even if I did a great deal on this, it was still something I needed. I wanted to share. But this is when your DJ of the night needs his tipping. So by all means. Leave a tip to your DJ of the night, of the day, whenever you're finding this. You're welcome, Thomas. Six LPs. Yeah, for me this is, I've been listening to this online sometime, and then I decided I'm gonna get this record. I need this. This is so good, so powerful, so challenging in all the best possible ways. not for the faint of heart. For those who don't know, Hermann Nitsch was one of the founding members of this art movement of performers, artists in Austria. In I think that they started in the late 50s and were labeled actionists. So the topic of their matter was the sacred. In the post-World War World War II world in Austria, we all know what came from Austria. They created these events, performances, basically recreating processions, deeply rooted in the mysticism of the Catholic myths, founding legends or tales, and didn't shy on the bloody part of it. So you could, when you look at pictures of that, it looks like a cult, like a sort of doomsday death cult with nudity, organs, sexual content, not porn, but nudity and violence and blood and a lot of drama. And Hermann Nitsch actually went to jail for that. He did prison time. I don't know the whole story behind it, obviously, but I'm not sure anyone knows exactly these days. He passed away 2 or 3 years ago only. And the idea of a 12-side symphony by this, I don't know if he's a genius, an outcast, or whatever he is, but provocateur. So he was throwing these performances, these massive performances, as he was also a visual artist, painter. He still is more famous in the visual art, in the fine arts world than the music one. But I hope it changes, it keeps changing over time. Yes, I think you told me that story, it's incredible. You can take this as symphonic work or as sort of blocks of energy, of sound, musically charged blocks of sound, energy. It works both ways, and probably others, like I can listen to this as ambient music if I want. Just shifting fluxes of energy with contrast. Look him up, Ordy man. You will be intrigued. But you know me, life is about contrast. 6 LPs, so 12 sides. We're listening to the first part, Kreuz und Dionysos. Wine was very important to Hermann Nitsch as well. So I had been after that record Island for 2.5 years now, I think. I almost got it twice. So it was like on the top 3 of my want list. So getting it was not something that was a guarantee. Jardin Exotique, a one-off project by Barney Willen, the great French saxophone player who revolutionized jazz in the 50s. He was part of the Miles Davis Ascenseur pour l'échafaud soundtrack. This is early 80s stuff, mostly with Brazilian musicians. A little record. Really nice. Cheap. A Den Bosch wine, $5. You'll get more of the Brazilian aspect now. No, Thomas, it was the performances. The profane performances. That's it. 75 euros gets you an entrance to all 3 days, including the non-official day, the dealer's day on Friday. Normally on Saturday and Sunday, I think it's like 15 or something. Here is the Jardin Exotique record. And here is the Hermann Nitsch one. Hotel, Airbnb, yes, absolutely. Depends, but depends who you go with. No. There's lots more. So this year I went with Sava. This past April I was with Steve Davis. I think it's good to go with someone to keep you honest with being there on time. Barney Whelan, who's famous for a lot of us for his Moshi record on Sarava. He had a bunch of 60s, early 60s, crazy, good post-bop, hard-bop jazz records. He kind of took a break from jazz in the 80s. He even had a sort of a post-punk band with a French female singer that kind of have an idea that like the collaboration was not just musical. But in the 90s he went back to jazz. But this is in his sort of anything goes time. Barney plays the tenor saxophone, soprano, and the balafon. Just wonderful. musique du Cameroun en Okora, organisme de radio-télévision française. So this was one of these finds in Den Bosch. Although I think it was a seller who brought it to me, David. Fortunately, it's missing the booklet, and it's not the pressing I thought it was. It's nice, but I mean, it's all about the music, isn't it? And these Okora records, when it's the good ones, like this one, doesn't get much better. Yeah, they're cheap, Ambera. You shouldn't struggle too much. Not like me tonight. Yeah, last week was pretty good in terms of you guys supporting the channel. Tonight is one of the slowest ones. It happens. But if you haven't already, since we're approaching the tail end, we're at the tail end of the stream, almost 2.5 hours now. If you haven't already, by all means, leave a tip to your DJ of the night, support the stream, leave a like to the video, and leave a comment if you're watching this whenever. Hello, Luke. How you doing? Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it. That Black Friday Record Store Day, that's not the best day to have a stream, yeah? You guys already all tapped out? Oh. Oh yeah, one of the from the early 80s, right? Yeah, this one I had been after for quite some time, but just knew it would land on my lap eventually. And Den Bosch provides. Go to Den Bosch and spend some time. You'll find a dozen of these records for a very good price. And obviously I'm not picking them up randomly, like I do my research. There are quite a few that I'm not interested in, even if I maybe should. Thank you, Revenge, for leaving a nice tip in the coffee jar. Merci beaucoup. I'm not even halfway of the goal tonight, so that's a little bit slow, but there's one more song. Also Den Bosch Fine, record I've been after for 7-8 years now. A Polish record. At one point I wondered if I played it last week, but I don't think I did. Salut, salut Arthur Super Cagouille. Ah, that's good, John. Yeah, most of them are really well pressed. Just the kink of getting the first press. We're listening to Kira, Nova Alexandria, Nouvelle Alexandrie. Salut Mathieu, j'arrive à la fin, ouais. A nice alternative rock. Now they say post-punk. Everything is post-punk if it was not bad in the 80s. But this is just a good rock, punk rock record from Poland. With pretty cool synthesizers and a stubborn groove. Alright, maybe one last one. Now I had a little bit of a doubt, like, you know, a COVID memory. Did I play that record last week? I did think I did, and then the order of my records tells me I didn't. Véronique Chalot. I might have, though, so tell me if I did. The hurdy-gurdy, good girl folk. But we can't have enough of this. I mentioned her recently, yeah. Ouais, il est pas évident celui-là, mais il est pas non plus rarissime. Sorry about that connection. Yeah, she only did. She's a sort of medieval musician enthusiast. She did a few albums in the south of France or north of Italy. Hello everyone! At the tail end of the stream, I hope you're enjoying the pop-up grass pop-up store then. So this is Véronique Chalot's first album, À l'entrée du temps clair. And this song is the one that gets a little more hippie Indian, which is quite interesting to think that before Renaissance, like the Western world had music that was not tempered, and so it was closer to Indian classical music, and I can feel connections between this and well, the European folk medieval music, basically before the 1300. You're welcome, Grass. Yeah, it is a jam. Cheers, Mr. Zosh, and thank you for your support. I think it's a good song to end the stream. Some tracks are actual songs. She sings, she plays the guitar, the hurdy-gurdy, the dulcimer. And Épinette des Vosges. You have a bunch of Italian musicians playing the violin, bouzouki, double bass, electric bass, bouzouki, the people, cabrette, cromorne, whistles, Scottish drums, bodhran, bandir, tablas, ossa. So yeah, Indian by way of European medieval music. Cheers, John. Yeah, I hope so. That was an expensive one tonight, and it was fun to have Malcolm. Hope you guys go and check his album if that piques your interest. I think it will get sold out, and it's the kind of albums that could get up in price as soon as it gets a sort of hype. So cheers. Cheers, Brian. Well. This was actually, I think this is the original on Materiali Sonori. Materiali Sonori, an Italian label that's been around since the mid-70s, I think, and still are around. They don't put out stuff that often, but they never did. They have an amazing catalog. Oh, this is insane. This is so good. But this got reissued. It's not a cheap record, the original one. It's not crazy expensive, but it has its fans. Cheers, them. But there's an affordable reissue of that. All right, thank you everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're gonna have a great weekend. I guess it's already started for some of you going in Tokyo. And don't spend all your money on record store day, archival live shows from artists you already know all the songs by heart. Or do that, because who am I to tell you what to do? But yeah. See? So I hope you found some inspiration during this stream, some cues, some records to look for, some artists to go listen to a little further online before making a choice. Because isn't it all that matters? Putting ourselves in positions to make choices. And we should be lucky. We should feel lucky to be so. So thank you everyone. Have a great weekend. Like the video if you like the stream. Leave a comment if you haven't told me what you think during the live chat. And tip your DJ of the night. Thank you. And good night. Follow the